Good evening. Happy Monday. Another one under our belt. So tonight we're going to discuss stress management. 3 steps to eliminating or at least greatly reducing our stress levels. Important topic right now, obviously. And what we promise to do tonight is a couple of things. Number one, we are going to keep this short. So we're going to try to keep this to under 10 or 15 minutes. Something that all of us can withstand. And we also promise that these 3 steps, this isn't going to be mumbo jumbo. These are going to be things that actually work to help eliminate stress. And stress is something that many people are dealing with right now. And it's no joke. I mean, when you hear stress, you don't think of something that's terribly devastating, but it can be devastating if you're going through it, especially if it's borderline anxiety, worry, and these sorts of little devils. And so we are going to share with you 3 actionable steps that will help you manage your stress, will help if you deal with anxiety, worry, that will help with these items. These are all things that I can tell you in just full disclosure. These are 3 steps that I have worked and put into action myself. So what we are going to ask is that once you start watching, that you stick with us till the end. Like I said, we're not going to go more than 10 or 15 minutes, but we're going to ask you to stick with us till the end. A couple of different reasons. We only have 3 topics to share, all very, very important. And number 2, at the end, we are going to share, if you make it all the way to the end, we're going to share a gift with you. Okay? So what I ask right now before we get started, if you would please go ahead and find a quiet, comfortable place to watch this. If you're in your car, pull over. Don't go down the road doing this. I've been hit twice in 6 months on the road, so let's not contribute to that. That's really stressful. Find a quiet place to sit and just promise yourself you'll give yourself 10 to 15 minutes here to tackle this stress and anxiety demon that we all, well, not all of us, but we know that 40 million people deal with anxiety. And then lastly, grab something to take notes with. Piece of paper, pencil, pen, notes section of your iPhone, your computer. Start maybe a Word document on stress management, anxiety management, and we are going to get into this. Now, like I mentioned, we know that 40 million Americans deal with anxiety anyway. That's without even getting into this whole Corona COVID-19 business. What this has done to some people who already deal with stress, worry, anxiety, has thrown them over the top. And some people who have never dealt with it, or dealt with stress or anxiety in the past, maybe on a small level now, are really feeling it. And there's different levels of stress right now that folks are having to deal with. I woke up this morning and looked in the mirror and realized I haven't had a haircut in a while. And that's a little bit stressful, and not being able to get into a barbershop or a salon. But some folks are dealing with much more significant issues, real legitimate issues, family issues, health issues, financial issues, unfortunately, associated with what we've been dealing with. So it's a serious thing, and I want you to know that we're here tonight. We're taking the time after work here to help you with it. So I just want to encourage you to take notes, find a quiet place, stick with us to the end. There's going to be a gift at the end for you. And then put these things into action. It's really easy to listen to a podcast or a workshop or something like this and walk out of it unchanged. But commit to putting these 3 steps into action and see what it does for you. It's really easy to put these things into action and to follow through with them. But the catch-22 is it's just as easy not to do them. Continue the scroll. Go to the next website. Go to the fridge, get something to eat. Be the same person that we were tomorrow, that we were today, tomorrow. So let's do this, okay, guys? So step number one for stress management, elimination, is to practice gratitude. Now, don't lose me on this. This isn't some esoteric concept. We're going to give you hard, actionable ways to practice gratitude. But let me tell you something. It's impossible to be in gratitude and stress, fear, and anxiety at the same time. It's impossible to be anxious and fearful and stressed and in gratitude at the same time. So how do we practice gratitude? First, let me tell you what being in gratitude does. It floods your brain with a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine produces almost a natural high. The other interesting thing about dopamine and gratitude is that the research suggests that it's addictive. So when you start to practice this and you start to flood your brain with dopamine, the natural tendency is for us to seek more. So what's great about seeking more dopamine and gratitude is that when you're in that state, you can't be stressed and anxious. So how do we practice it? Number one is through a process called journaling. Now, most men, if you're a guy, you don't want to hear the word journaling, because journaling is a code word for a diary, and ladies and girls and women do diaries. So for men, if you don't want to talk about diaries or journaling, let's call it taking an inventory, gratitude inventory, okay? And what this could be something you just do daily, or it could be something that, if you're really in a tough place, it may be something you need to slip away every half an hour and do for a few minutes. I've been in these places where I need to slip away and do a gratitude inventory every hour or two until I got this stress and anxiety thing by the neck. So this is a very real thing that can make a big difference. And so what I want to encourage you to do, whether you're doing it once a day or you're doing it every hour, every half an hour, if you're really in a tough place, number one, do it with pen and paper. There's something different than with pen and paper than just thinking it or saying it or even typing it into your phone in the notes section. Get a pen, get a small little notebook, scratch a piece of paper that you can comment on. And what you do is this, again, whether it's once a day or 10 times a day if you need it, physically write out all the things you're thankful for. So you're writing it, you're visualizing it, and you're saying it. If it's out loud or under your breath, I'm thankful. What are you thankful for? Okay, I'm thankful for my wife, my children. I'm thankful that I'm healthy at the moment. I'm thankful that I ate breakfast today. I'm thankful for, it can be large things. If you've been blessed in some way financially, thankful for that. If you have a home that you're comfortable and you love in, I'm thankful for that. I'm writing that. But it can be some relatively, inane things. I'm thankful that I'm breathing. Some people aren't as lucky. I'm thankful that I ate this morning. Some people aren't as blessed. I'm thankful that I'm sitting in a chair in air conditioning right now. Some people aren't as fortunate. And you're writing down 10, 15, 20, 100 things if you need to when you're doing your gratitude inventory. And again, we had a few people come back on 3 steps to managing stress. Step number 1 is taking an inventory as many times a day as you need to on what you're grateful for. Releases dopamine in the brain, creates a natural high. It becomes addictive. And this is a practice that can pull you out of the doldrums. But I want to emphasize writing it, seeing it, and saying it as you're doing it. This way, you're employing visual learning, auditory learning, and kinesthetic learning by actually using your body and writing. It becomes ingrained the more components of learning that you put into action. That's step number 1. Step number 2 in eliminating stress, and I just realized I actually skipped my my picture. So again, step number 1 here was practice gratitude journaling, gratitude inventory, and step number 2 is exercise. Now, those of you that are on right now, don't scroll away or go away just because I said exercise. Now, I'm gonna make this easy and show you how you can do it in seconds and how it can manage stress. Exercise, I know for many, is a 4-letter word. You see the dog here, exercise. I thought you said extra fries. I'm with them, 100%. I'm with him. So how exactly does exercise help manage stress? A few different ways. Number one, when we're stressed, or anxious, or worrying, our body secretes excess adrenaline. Why? Adrenaline prepares us for fight or flight. Adrenaline prepares us to move and take action. So your brain and the body in its wisdom knows when you are stressed, the solution is to take action. 1 second here. I'm gonna try to get fancy with the split screen. There we go. Is that what you wanted? Thanks, Tim. So your brain, your body knows when you're stressed that you need to take action. The problem is, adrenaline gives you the fuel for that action. But what do most of us do when we're stressed or anxious? We sit and we ruminate. Couple things. Rumination doesn't fix anything. And number two, the adrenaline doesn't get burned off. That adrenaline that your body gave you to take action to help resolve issues, the adrenaline doesn't get burnt off. And guess what? Adrenaline is toxic to your heart. And this is one of the reasons why stress can increase risk of stroke, heart disease, heart attack. Stress also increases weight gain due to the rise in cortisol levels. Obviously, when we have excess adrenaline in the body, in the bloodstream, we also have a natural rise in anxiety levels, even insomnia. So what do we do to get rid of this? Exercise helps burn off the adrenaline. Moving the body burns off the adrenaline that our body has produced for us to take action. So this may mean a practice of exercise once a day. Again, I'm going to use my own story with this. At times when I've been anxious and worried and stressed, I may need to take a half a dozen timeouts a day, go in my office and run in place for 30 seconds, or bust out 50 jumping jacks because I'm stressed. I feel it here and I feel it here, and I need to do something to shed that adrenaline that's just perpetuating the cycle of anxiety, because if you don't shed it, it's going to sit there and just eat at us. So it could be something as simple as just standing up, and then getting into doing squats. If you're not real stable, if your balance isn't great, putting a chair behind you, right behind your rear end, and squatting down until your rear end touches the chair. That way, if you lose your balance and you fall back, you have the chair. So you're just doing, whatever your fitness level will let you, 50 to 100 squats, doing jumping jacks in place, running in place as hard as you can for 30 seconds. And typically what will happen in my experience practicing this, these short bursts of adrenaline burning exercise, doing 3 sets of 30 seconds, a minute and a half, catch your breath, go back to work, go back to your chores, go back to whatever you were doing. And then throughout the day when you're stressed, as needed, practicing that protocol. Now, research here is showing that 30 minutes of exercise daily creates a moderate stress reduction after 1 week. 30 minutes of daily exercise after 2 weeks creates a significant reduction in stress and anxiety. So that could be something, as simple as going outside and going for, walking as fast as you can. If your fitness level will let you jog for 30 minutes, great. Just doing something to raise the heart rate and burn off some of this adrenaline produced by stress, okay? So give that a go. Maybe start a daily practice of 30 minutes or an as needed multiple times a day, 3 bursts of 30 seconds, okay? So that's step number 2 to eliminating your stress. Step number 3, and the final stress eliminator, is taking action. Now, what in the heck do I mean by taking action? One thing we know about stress is that a high percentage of the stress and the anxiety that many of us have comes from the knowledge or the feeling that we're not giving certain areas of our life the attention it needs. Or we're stressed and we're anxious, and we know there's things that we can do to help ourselves, like these 3 steps we're going through, but we're stuck in a pattern of inaction. We're paralyzed, or we've become paralyzed. So taking action is big. So what I want you to say to yourself right now, whether it's out loud, you're by yourself, and you can scream it, or you got people around and you need to try to not be weird, you need to mumble it under your breath. I want you to tell yourself right now, verbally, out loud on some level, I commit to taking action. And that can mean various things. We're going to talk about it. But say it with me right now. I commit to taking action. Because here's what happens. When you begin to work these 3 steps and you begin to take other action steps regarding your life, you start to build self-esteem. You start to trust yourself a little bit more that you're a doer and you're an action taker. And guess what happens when you start to take a wee bit of control of your life back? The stress and anxiety starts to shed. One way to do this is through a process that I use called time stacking. So if you're taking notes, write this down. Time stacking. Time stacking is when you block 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. In those 2 to 3 hours, you are 100% unplugged. You're only dealing with outgoing phone calls. You're not taking in any incoming phone calls. You're not taking in any emails, any text messages, only outgoing phone calls. And it's a 2 to 3 hour burst of productivity where you're committing to brainstorming, planning, taking action steps, dealing with things that you know you need to deal with, that in dealing with them will help reduce your stress levels. For example, where do you start with this process? You start with making a to-do list for these time stacking periods, these time stacking hours. Where do you start? I'm going to give you a tip. Here's 2 places you start. First place you start is you're writing down 3 things that you need to accomplish, and they are things that you've been deliberately delaying. So you're going to start with 3 items you know you need to address or tackle, but you've been delaying or putting off altogether because you don't want to do them. And chances are, these items that you really don't want to do, that when you wake up in the morning and you go, well, maybe I'm going to make that phone call, then that sick feeling in your gut kicks in and you go, oh, the heck with it. It can wait. I'll do it another time. Or you're going to forget about it altogether. That's exactly the item or items that you need to put on your time stacking list. So you're going to start with 3 things that you know you need to accomplish and tackle that you've been putting off or delaying altogether and dreading. Chances are they're the most important items. And then the second list you're going to make is 3 phone calls or 3 people that you need to contact that you haven't wanted to. Maybe it's a difficult conversation with a coworker, a family member, a spouse. Maybe you need to call and sit on the phone with Comcast for 4.5 hours, but you got to do it and you haven't been doing it, whatever it may be, right? I mean, we've all been there. We're laughing about it. We've all been there with Comcast, for God's sakes. But make that list. Make that to-do list. 3 items that you've been dreading. 3 people or entities that you need to contact by phone that you've been dealing with, that you haven't been dealing with. And start tackling those. Start taking those action steps. One great action step to maybe commit to yourself to doing, I'm a chiropractor, so I'm going to be biased here, but this is a powerful thing, is start taking care of your spine and your nervous system. Why? Your nerve system, your nervous system, is the system that we use emotionally to interact and interface with our environment and with other human beings. So when your back and your neck and your spine is mangled and degenerated and misaligned, it puts tension and interference within your nervous system. And understand this, guys. Our nervous system is not just for feeling pain. Certainly, some of you may have that. But our nervous system regulates and modulates really every aspect of the human experience. So receiving a specific chiropractic adjustment can begin to shed the pressure and the tension on the muscles and the nerves of your nervous system. And when you start to function with a nervous system that was like this, and when you take pressure off the nervous system and it starts to function like this, it can be a game changer. So step number 3 is to take action. And again, chiropractic adjustments are just one of those things that you can do for yourself that can be a game changer, a really big deal for the quality of your life and how you manage stress. So I promise you, if you stayed to the end, step number 1 was what? Does anybody remember what step number 1 was? So step number 1, we're going to go back. Step number 1 was practicing gratitude, taking inventories as needed, daily, multiple times a day. Step number 2 was exercise, increased dopamine, natural high, addictive. When that happens, research has showed helps eliminate stress. And step number 3 was take action. If you are somebody who has not had a chiropractic adjustment lately, or never at all for that matter, and also if you're somebody who's a patient of ours but haven't been in the last month due to COVID, stay with us. We got to offer for both of you. If you're somebody who's never had a chiropractic adjustment, never had a spinal evaluation or checkup, or it's been a long, many years, let's say, we are going to do something super, super special. And what we're going to do is we are going to, if you watch tonight, we are going to give you an initial visit, examination with me, consultation, infrared thermography scans of your spinal column, and any necessary x-rays. And we are going to do that 100% complimentary, gratis, for free, if you watch this video, if you contact the office tonight or send us a message, okay? If you're somebody who hasn't been in the office in a month or longer, you've been on self-quarantine per se, and you come in this week, we are going to add a complimentary visit to your care plan, okay? So just to encourage you to take some action steps with your health. So, Tiffany, what should we do? Do I need to put the number up? Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to post the phone number for the office right now, whether you're a returning patient. It's already up there? Hang with me. Tiffany's helping me with the technology here. There it is. Okay, there's the phone number, 325-8226. If you get the voicemail, just leave your name and your phone number. We'll call you back. And if you're a newer patient who we haven't seen before, exam, x-rays, thermography scan, all will be complimentary. If you're a returning patient, it's been a month or longer, we're going to give you a free complimentary visit adjustment added to your plan. So again, guys, I want to encourage you, put these steps into action, write them down, commit. They're not terribly difficult, but they're very easy to just blow off. Commit to putting these things into action, into your life, and I promise you, they've helped me. Guys, they've helped me greatly. And I just hope they can do the same for you. So thanks for tuning in with us tonight. We are going to leave this up for at least another day or so on our Facebook page. So if you'd like to copy, just go up into the browser, highlight it, copy it, and then you can paste it and send it to a friend or family member who you might benefit from watching this. And like I said, we'll leave it up for at least a day or so for people to go back and view. So have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys later.